Sefiras HaOmer, these awesome days that we try to make every day count. If we look in the Sidurim, in the Nuschos after Sefiras HaOmer, we see that Sefiras HaOmer is especially about the Avodah of Tikkun HaMidos. We're here to perfect the midos of ourselves as individuals, as a Klal Yisrael, to perfect our midos. And I want to just take a few moments to discuss the inyan of Tikkun HaMidos, which really, when we look at the Sefirim, it's called Sefiras HaMidos. Breaking a midah. What are midos? And what does it mean to break a midah? A person tends to think of himself sometimes that if he has tendencies towards bad midas, there's something wrong with him. He may feel like he has tendencies toward gaiva. He gets angry very often. He looks at himself as maybe a bad person, a kaisen. He has midas sometimes of depression. A person could have midas of not caring, not being responsible. And there are so many midas involved, so many intricate midas involved in a person, in the makeup of a person. And sometimes we beat ourselves up by the fact that we're not comfortable with our midas. And the truth is, every individual was created with certain tendencies, and it has no fault of our own. There are people that are created with tendencies towards gaiva, towards kas, towards atzvas, towards atzlas. And there are people that have the other tendencies. Gaiva is not their issue, but their issue is they're very cheap, they're very stingy. There are people that are very not stingy, they're very bright, but they have problems with gaiva, they have problems with kas. That's not a fault of anybody of what his midas are. The inyan of midas, as we see in this form, is the inyan of Sefiras HaMidos. And Sefiras HaMidos, as we know, Rabbi Salanter famously said that it's easier to finish the entire shas than to break one midah. What is the inyan of Sefiras HaMidos and how can it be done? Sefiras HaMidos is really the work of self-control. It means to say, I have a tendency, it's hard for me, but I'm going to do it anyway, or I won't do it anyway. If someone has a tendency of laziness, it's hard for him to get out of bed. It's hard for him to be by davening on time. It's hard for him to be by his chavrusa. It's hard for him to go to a shir. That person's job is break it. Do something to break that midah. This inyan of Sefiras HaMidos, when we look deeper into this forum, it's called tahara. Taharas HaMidos. And Rabbi Chaim Vital, in his Sefer Shari Kedusha, when he discusses the inyan of midas, he specifically discusses the inyan that purifying oneself is through developing control over our tendencies. Having a tendency to something doesn't reflect on anything wrong with a person. It just gives the person the knowledge of what his job is all about. In the days of Sefiras HaOmer, the Arizal tells us a fascinating thing. He says the way that we act during these wonderful days of Sefiras HaOmer is the way that we're going to be the whole year. What is the reason for this? And many, many years ago, I heard from Reb Shimshon Pinky Zechreinu Levracha in a shmuz. And he brought, I think, from the Rashash, the famous Mekubal, the Rashash. And he explained that the days of Sefiras HaOmer, when Klal Yisrael leaves Mitzrayim and is preparing for Matan Torah, these are the days of our development. This is when we're being developed as people. And just like if someone wants to train a child for certain things, the easiest time to train them is as they're developing. And the way they're going to be trained when they're developing, that's how they're going to come out. So too, each and every year, we have an opportunity to develop ourselves again. We can develop our midas again. True, we have that tendency. True, it's hard. But this is the time where every little move that we do to break a midah, every little move that we do to show self-control, to do what we don't want to do, or not to do what we do want to do, that is developing us and allowing us to become better people. That's the inyan of the midos, the Sefiras HaMidos of Sefiras HaOmer. My Rabbi say, the days of Sefiras HaOmer are not days of work. They're unique days of opportunity. It's a once a year time that we're able to remake ourselves. And the way to do that is by showing and by expressing self-control constantly in all areas. Someone who has a natural inclination of curiosity. And whenever there's a car driving down the street, they tend to look at the car. And if that car has sirens blaring, that's even more exciting. They're going to look and look and look. That's a natural thing. But if somebody can control himself, even though I want to look at it, I'm not going to look at it. What he's doing is, at this time of year, he's developing himself to be a person that doesn't have so much curiosity. And he's able not to look where he wants to look. And the same is true with every midah. Someone who has a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. If we use these days of Sefiras HaOmer, days of taharas hamidas, purifying our midas, redeveloping ourselves, we will be zeichen mirz Hashem to come to Matan Torah, bigger people. We'll be able to become people that are more tahar, that have better midos. And that's the opportunity of the days of Sefiras HaOmer. The Eibishter Helfen. We should use these days out properly to redevelop ourselves and to become what we're truly able to become.